The Punjabi Nightmare was one of the scariest monsters ever to grace the WWE. Standing over 7 feet tall and weighing 420 pounds, he demolished and made public executions of the likes of Rey Mysterio, Shawn Michaels, and Jeff Hardy, among others. The Punjabi monster almost killed the dead man, and if you think that is scary, you haven't explored this list of the most terrifying moments of the Great Khali. Some of these give me the chills of just thinking about them. Join us as we explore some of the scariest moments of the Great Khali, and don't forget to bring your courage along with you. Debut destruction of The Undertaker. On April 7th, 2010, at the tail end of the match, The Undertaker had everything going well for him until this happened. There was an unfamiliar face when a 7'3" giant weighing over 420 pounds with black pants made his way. The attack shocked both the audience and wrestlers alike, as The Undertaker was arguably the most dominant force in the WWE. The attack fueled a heated rivalry, setting the stage for several high-profile matches. But the Great Khali did not just crush The Undertaker. Rey Mysterio also fell victim to the giant, crushing Rey Mysterio. There was a repeat of the fight between David and Goliath on May 12, 2006, but this time, David was on the receiving end. On this episode of SmackDown, the WWE fan-favorite wrestler, Rey Mysterio, found himself in the ring against the Great Khali. Rey was known to take on much larger opponents, and occasionally, he would go on to win those matches. But this time, he was facing someone different, a no-nonsense 7-foot giant who had created a name for himself through his attack on The Undertaker some few months ago. Initially, Rey was supposed to face Mark Henry, but the Great Khali made his way to the ring just before the match could even get underway. You could even feel the anxiety in the arena, and Rey's fans looked more scared than ever. Mysterio was brave enough to stand against the giant, with around a 2-foot height difference between the two wrestlers. The match between the two looked more like a public execution. Rey tried to use his speed in the match, but his speed did not match the power of the Great Khali. Khali quickly lifted him as if he were a small bag of feathers and slammed him onto the mat. Rey's head was almost completely engulfed in Khali's hands, leaving him gasping for breath. Everyone was left shocked, from the fans to the commentators. Rey's public execution by the Great Khali was simply shocking. Another scary moment by the Punjabi giant was during a match inside a bamboo-walled prison against the animal, the Punjabi prison match. The first Punjabi prison match was held on July 23, 2006, between The Undertaker and Big Show. The second one was held on October 7, 2007, and it was a great match between Batista, aka The Animal, and the Great Khali. This match was one of the greatest ever in the history of the WWE. The Great Khali would use his bigger size to his advantage as he delivered a massive chop to the animal's head. But Batista was not the kind of competitor to give up easily. He used his speed and power to mount a comeback. After a determined fight in the inner cage, Batista somehow managed to escape and emerged victorious in the match. This led to him retaining his title as the World Heavyweight Champion. Despite his loss, you must agree that the Punjabi prison match was one of the most epic and competitive matches in the Great Khali's career. This leads us to another Great Khali moment, destroying Shawn Michaels. During an episode of Monday Night Raw on May 7, 2007, the Great Khali had the chance to destroy one of the most legendary wrestlers of all time, Shawn Michaels, aka the Heartbreak Kid. Shawn was known for his charisma and resilience. The match between Khali and the Heartbreak Kid was another David versus Goliath encounter. Khali had set his sights on John Cena, the reigning WWE champion, but unfortunately for Shawn, he found himself on the path of the giant. At the start, Michaels threw everything he had toward the giant, but it all seemed futile as the Great Khali countered with a massive chop to the head of the HBK. But Shawn was not the kind of fighter to back down. He utilized his signature moves against Khali. Just as Shawn thought he was getting the upper hand, the monster in the Great Khali countered by throwing Michaels to the ground. Things started getting from bad to worse for the Heartbreak Kid. The match was taken out of the ring and onto the commentary table. With HBK having a slight upper hand, things would take a dramatic turn once more as he was slammed into the ground. The giant grabbed him again and slammed him onto the commentary table, leaving the referee with no option but to end the match. The look on this kid's face could tell it all. After finishing the Heartbreak Kid, Khali had his eyes set on Cena, clashing with John Cena. John Cena is by far the most resilient champion in WWE history, but in his wrestling career, he had to fight against the monster known as the Great Khali. But when Cena was up against Khali, everyone knew it was the end of John Cena. When Khali destroyed Shawn Michaels, he made it known that Cena was his next victim. This match was the third David and Goliath match of the monster and the Great Khali. But this time, David was a man with great potential and status in the WWE. Cena was up for the fight, determined to retain the one thing they were fighting for, the WWE Championship. On May 20th, 2007, Cena was up against a man who had never been pinned or submitted.
Standing over 7 feet tall, weighing 420 pounds, the Great Khali!
In this match, every move made by the Giant made John Cena look like a lightweight fighter, but that made Cena fight back in a way we could not imagine. Look at this and then boom! 420 pounds to the ground is something you don't see every day. Although Cena won the match, you can't question Khali's greatness in this match. The Giant was beaten in this match, but in our next fight, the Punjabi man was up against 19 men, and this is what happened. The Battle Royal Rampage. In 2007, Khali faced 19 men in a 20-man Battle Royal Rampage. The match, held on June 20th, 2007, was one of his multi-man matches on a Monday Night Raw episode. By then, Khali had already established himself as one of WWE's most fearsome competitors. The 20-man Battle Royal Rampage was one of the most coveted matches in the history of WWE, as the winner was to get a shot for the WWE Championship. The match featured some of the top wrestlers in WWE, but the question in all the wrestlers' minds was how they could defeat the Great Khali. He had already proven himself to be a great fighter, having beaten other great fighters, including a fight where he almost killed the dead man himself. His entrance changed the arena's mood and atmosphere, and the difference between his size and his competitor's size was scary. When Khali heard the bell, he quickly started eliminating the opponents as if they were nothing. Khali was left with a few opponents, including Batista, as the match neared the end. At one point, it seemed like Batista had the upper hand as he tried to throw the big red machine out of the ring. Khali took advantage of the situation and threw both Batista and Kane out of the ring, and he became the new World Heavyweight Champion. This match showed the ring dominance of the Punjabi Giant, but his match with Kane was even more brutal, mauling Kane. WrestleMania 23 saw Khali feud with the Big Red Machine, or as many know him, Kane. By then, Kane was by far the king of destruction in the WWE, and as for the Great Khali, he was the actual definition of destruction. Most WWE fans were eager to witness the match between these two great wrestlers. During this match, Kane received the beating of his life. Their match began with both men trying to outpower each other, with Kane, known for his resilience, trying to wear down the Great Khali. Despite Kane landing some heavy blows on Khali, they seemed to have little effect on the Giant, and soon Khali administered some heavy chops on the Big Red Machine. These chops began Kane's mauling as Khali started dominating the ring. At one point, Kane got the upper hand as he slammed the 7-foot-tall, 420-pound Giant on the mat. Khali was still not defeated as the Big Red Monster went for the pin, and the referee counted to 2 as Kane was thrown away by the Punjabi Giant. Kane then decided to go for the chokeslam on Khali, but the Giant did not have it. The Punjabi Giant grabbed the Big Red Machine by the head and slammed him to the mat in a fashion that proved to be the end of the match. After mauling the Big Red Machine, Khali's next victim was one of the most loved wrestlers of all time, Khali versus Jeff Hardy. On September 10, 2007, the Great Khali clashed with Jeff Hardy during a WWE Raw episode. Jeff Hardy was always known for his high-flying moves and ability to take massive risks. As much as it was another David versus Goliath situation, Jeff was a formidable opponent for the Great Khali. By then, Khali was already the World Heavyweight Champion, as he had won the belt in a 20-man battle royal. The Giant was also regarded as one of the most fearsome superstars in the WWE. His size and power made him a nearly unbeatable champion. On the other hand, Jeff was a fan favorite, and he was known for his never-say-die mentality. As the match began, it was a clash of Jeff's speed versus Khali's power. Jeff used his speed to try to get away from the Giant, but every time he got near the Giant, Khali made him pinpoint in the match. The Giant stepped on the helpless Jeff Hardy, and the ref counted to 3, making Khali the match winner. The destruction of Jeff Hardy brings us to our next Khali moment, the clash of the Giants, dominating Big Show. If there was someone who could match Khali's gigantic size, it was this guy, the Big Show. This was a match between Goliath and another Goliath. The fight occurred during an episode of Friday Night SmackDown in 2013, termed by many as the Clash of the Titans. To many, this was an exciting match between giants. It was like two trains clashing against each other or witnessing a fight between two big machines. The Big Show was an experienced fighter, and despite his experience, the Great Khali started showing why he was feared by many wrestlers in the WWE by dominating the Big Show. He pushed the Big Show into a corner and started administering some heavy chops on the Big Show. It was not long before the Great Khali administered a chop to his opponent, sending the Big Show on the mat and shocking the fans and everyone watching the show. As the match progressed, the Big Show gained an advantage as he had Khali outside the ring. The match ended with the referee counting to 10, and the Punjabi Giant could not return to the ring. We cannot look at all the Punjabi Giant's moments without mentioning this next fight, Randy Orton versus Great Khali. The Apex Predator, aka the Viper, was one of the favorite WWE superstars ever to face the wrath of the Great Khali. As the referee counted to 3, Orton emerged victorious. This match was great with some really dramatic twists of events. But next, we're going to see how CM Punk fell victim to the Giant, crushing CM Punk. In 2008, during an episode of SmackDown, the Punjabi Giant was up against one of the most resilient fighters in the WWE. During the initial minutes of the match, CM Punk knew that he could not overpower the Great Khali, so he decided to use his speed to evade the Giant. He used low strikes as he tried to attack the Giant. For a moment, Punk's strategy might have worked. However, his advantage was short-lived. Punk attempted a high-flying move that initially worked, but when he tried to pin the Great Khali, he was quickly thrown out of the ring. As the match progressed, Khali delivered the Punjabi plunge on CM Punk, and just when it seemed all over, the Big Red Machine entered the scene. Kane tried to play mind games on the Punjabi Giant, but his trick didn't work. The Big Red Machine ended up regretting stepping foot in the ring with the Great Khali. CM Punk was saved by Kane, but what happened in our next match between Khali and the Game, taking out Triple H? Everyone loved the Game, but during the 2008 SummerSlam, he was up against a fierce monster who stood 7 feet tall. Triple H was known for his toughness and intelligence in the ring, but this match against the Great Khali was an iconic clash that even the Game knew would be tough. As the match began, Triple H was immediately aware of the danger that Khali posed. He tried to use his speed to bring down Khali, but Khali quickly took control by throwing H into the corner. Despite Khali's dominance, Triple H's wrestling career. Omalu's research on CTE began with the autopsy of Hall of Famer Pittsburgh Steelers Webster in 2002. Webster, who died of a heart, had long suffered from depression, loss, and erratic behavior. Omalu believed that these symptoms could be traced to the estimated 25,000 collisions Webster incurred playing for 17 seasons in the NFL. 2 more NFL players soon followed as confirmed CTE cases. Terry Long, a Steelers, died in 2005 at 45 after drinking antis, and Philadelphia Eagles safety Andre died of a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. Using this experience as drop, Bales and Omalu presented their claims of brain as the cause of the death of and Martins, and also being a prevalent issue among fighters in the WWE. However, the WWE was really in defense mode and released a statement questioning those findings. While this is a new emerging sense, the WWE is unaware of the veracity of any of this, be it for Chris Benoit or Andrew. Dr. Omalu claimed Benoit had a brain that resembled an 85-year-old with Alzheimer's, which would lead while Mr. Benoit would have found his way to an airport, let alone been able to remember all the information that is required for him in the ring. Been asking to see the research results in the case of years and has not been supplied with them. In response to the intense public scrutiny, WWE significant changes to address concerns surrounding wrestler safety and content. Vince McMahon in high-profile defense of the company, including Today's Show. The controversy also sparked brief congressional investigations. WWE also took more proactive steps by revamping its enhancing support for wrestlers' physical and mental health. They also shifted their content to a TV PG rating, a more family-friendly approach. There were visible armor changes, which included reduced blood and near elimination of chair shots to the head. A small but vocal group of wrestlers, including Mark Merrow, openly criticized WWE's of wrestler safety and wellness. A former WWE his experiences after that on the Going Ringside with the local podcast in 2023. Merrow revealed that his outspoken critique led to industry backlash and a de facto blacklisting by WWE. Despite the consequences, Merrow remains unapologetic about his stance. Merrow's courageous stance would eventually pay off, as he said it would lead to changes in the industry and stricter drug testing. Besides the steroids and CTE theories, Andre speculated that the death of Benoit and fellow wrestler Eddie Guerrero in 2005 affected him. On November 13th, he was found in an unconscious state at the Marriott Hotel Sydney, Minneapolis. He was Gustavo Guerrero, his nephew and childhood friend. He found Eddie in the hotel bathroom, clinging with a toothbrush still in his hand. Despite Chavo's action in calling an ambulance, Guerrero succumbed to heart failure. Medical help arrived. He was just 38 years old. The WWE community mourned Guerrero's loss, but Benoit particularly devastated. Chavo breaking the news to Benoit, who had planned to meet Guerrero that morning. The Canadian with Guerrero ran deep, and his sudden passing left a huge gap in Benoit's support. Vicky Guerrero, Eddie's, revealed that Chris would often break down in tears in private, overcome with grief. Close family members corroborated this, describing Benoit's withdrawal. This was a complete mismatch. Khali was preparing for the vice grip when Finlay came to Hornswoggle's rescue. The rescue by Finlay proved to be life-saving, as Hornswoggle was by far not a match for the Punjabi giant. If you enjoyed watching this video and would love to explore more exciting videos like it, click on any of the cards on your screen.